If you want to know what I thought of the Naked palettes during my 30 days of Naked in November, then stick around. Let's get this out of the way right up front. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content on this channel in general, how about subscribing? That would be fantastic. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video. We are going to talk Naked palettes today, quite a bit about Naked palettes. I spent the entire month of November playing with them and have a lot to talk about. So you may have seen from the thumbnail which palettes I'm talking about, but I want to just show you really quickly because I'll be jumping around a little bit. So let's go in order. So there is the original Naked, the Naked 2, the Naked 3, the Naked Heat, and the Naked Smoky. Along with those palettes, I was also using other things in the Naked series. I used the Naked Shapeshifter, the Ultimate Naked Basics, and then the original Naked Basics. I don't have the Naked Basics 2. I also used the 3 pencils that come with, that are suggested for Naked, for Naked, Naked 2, and Naked 3. And finally, I supplemented with a few more Urban Decay products, along with the Perversion Mascara, by the way. That is what I'm wearing today, and that's what I used all month, pretty much. The Afterglow palette, this highlighter palette, and then the Jean-Michel Basquiat that has 2 blushes, a bronzer, and a highlighter. Okay, final thing. I did also supplement with the Semi-Precious because it is in a penning project that I have, and I vowed to use it this month, and so this is what it looks like. I'll just refer to it if you're curious. Let's get it out of the way, actually. I used quite a few of the colors. I used Celestial, Beam Me Up, Bashful, Upon a Star, and Easy Go. This is really a great palette. If you have it and haven't used it in a while, I would strongly suggest to just crack it back out, play with it, and I'm sure you'll fall in love with it again. And if you don't have this palette, I was just really impressed with the shimmer / glitter shadows that ColourPop has put out as far as that Christmas collection. I don't know if they're all like this, but I'm really enjoying their formula in this palette. ColourPop was at Sephora Canada last holiday season, and it's not this year, and I'm not going to order to pay duties and shipping and all that good stuff. So it will be a while before I get to try any more ColourPop items. Let's go back to Urban Decay Naked for a bit, shall we? I have my chicken scratch notes here. So it was for the month of November. November has 30 days. I started on November 1st. I ended up using the Shapeshifter palette for a total of 27 days. And I used overall the Naked palettes for 25 of those days. And we talk about the Naked palettes not having enough mattes, so I actually brought these 2 into the project thinking that I would need to use them. I didn't use them. So that tells me, at least for my purposes, that there are enough mattes in the Naked palettes. And I do, on occasion in my collection, pull these out for working with various palettes. I just didn't have to with the Naked palettes, at least for this month. I found that I had all of the mattes that I needed, and this is an important part. I did not mix the palettes up. If I was using the original Naked, that's all I was using. If I was using the Heat, that's all I was using, and so on. Interestingly enough, and this was kind of a shock for me, this is the palette that I used the most. So out of 25 days, I used this palette, I'm pretty sure 6 times. Yeah, I used this Naked 3 6 times. So I think I should start not in order of the numbering of when they came out, but actually for usage. So just as a reminder, this is what the palette looks like. Might as well put it right side up. There we go. Now, out of all of the shades, I have to admit the shimmer shades were really my favorite. I used a ton of Dust, Burnout, Limit, Buzz, and Trick. So these guys, all of these guys, I really, really enjoyed a great deal. I found, I think Nooner and Limit were two very, very good mattes. I had no problem with them whatsoever. This one worked very nicely as a brow bone called Strange. And I was surprised myself. I really enjoyed Dark Heart more than I thought I would. The only shade that I don't think I ended up using in the palette was the Dark Side. And I'm not quite sure why. It may be because I had the Smoky and the Naked Original that I just didn't go for a gray in this palette, but I'm not upset that there is a gray. I think gray and pink would look really, really nicely together. They would work nicely together, so if you put this one, and this one, I could see how that would be a really nice color combination. I did use the Naked brushes here and there, but I did mostly use my other brushes. Now the brushes are double-ended, fluffy, and more precision work. I mostly use the precision side for liner and the fluffy sometimes to pack on the lid, but again I was supplementing with my own extra brushes that I have. So I really, really enjoyed this one, and it was a good reminder to go back into it more regularly. For some reason in my head, the Naked 3 was just kind of boring. Like nice, you always come out with a nice look, but kind of a boring look. And so it was really nice to get a reminder that no, actually, there's some really cool, exciting stuff that you can do with the Naked 3. So I really, really enjoyed it. And if you have the Afterglow highlighting palette, the shade Wicked goes really, really nicely with the Naked 3. I enjoyed pairing it with that palette and came out with some really nice looks. The next palette that I was a little bit surprised that I used as much as I did was the Naked 2. And the Naked 2 looks like this. I used this palette 5 out of the 25 days that I used the Naked palettes. And I ended up using, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of wear, but I really did use it 5 times. Okay, I enjoyed the combination of Pistol and Verve very much. That was a nice look. I enjoyed as well YDK. I used Tease and YDK, which is this one. So I thought that was a nice combination. I didn't mind kind of doing YDK all over the lid. Snakebite was also nice with YDK, so these two together. And I pretty much used Booty Call for most of my brow bone work. I didn't really use this one, which starts with an F, Foxy. I didn't really use Foxy. And then the other one that I was really, really drawn to, I tried not to use more than once or twice, and that was Half Baked, because that was an easy one to go to, and I really wanted to try to use as many of these shades in the palette as possible. And out of the whole palette, I have to say, aside from Half Baked, that Chopper is a newfound love. I really enjoy Chopper. It does have some fallout. You have to be careful when you put it on, but it is extremely flattering. It has a lot of shine to it, but it's still kind of a beigey brown. I would have trouble seeing that color not be very flattering on a lot of people. So I really enjoyed using this palette a lot. And it is on the cooler side, and I usually tend to gravitate, I thought, to warmer palettes. So kind of like the Naked 3, not as big of an impression, but a very nice impression compared to the other palettes that I'm going to keep showing you. So yeah, 5 times. Next up, I also used this one 5 times. Now this one probably does not need a whole lot of introduction, being the original Naked. And I have to say, this one, especially since it is discontinued, it is fantastic value. You could get it for like 30 bucks at Shoppers recently. I'm not sure if it's still on sale at the sale price at Sephora, if they still have any. But if you don't have any of the Naked palettes, I would strongly suggest this one. And the reason is, it basically is all of the other palettes I'm talking about put together. You have the smoky colors right here. You have, I guess, the Naked more here with a long half-baked, which is in the Naked 2. And you also have with Toasted and Sin, you have a pinky kind of a look that you can also pair up with Hustle. So I was able to even do a Naked 3, a Naked 2, a Naked Smoky look with this palette, which I did. Virgin and Sin are really nice light colors. The Naked and Buck are fantastic mattes, at least for my skin tone. I really, really enjoyed them. In my estimation, there is not a single dud in this entire palette. I think it is great. I would argue that when I did a smoky eye with this one, it was as good as when I did a smoky eye with the Smoky palette. The cool looks were just as good as the Naked 2. When I used Toasted, Hustle, and Sin, it was just as good as when I was using the Naked 3. If you only have one of these, I would say this is the one. Even if you're drawn more to cool or to warm, because we all deviate a little bit depending on what it is that we're trying to do, at least I think. So out of the whole bunch, I did not know I was going to say this. Out of the whole bunch, this would be, if I only kept one, this would be the one. Another one that I used for 5 days, this is not a surprise to me, is this one. I would probably have wanted to use this one for a lot more, just because anytime I think about my Naked series, this is the one that comes to mind. And I'm going to use another palette so that I don't blind you with the mirror. And this is what it looks like. And there's a little bit of the tendency of what I said with the original Naked, in that there's quite a spectrum of colors. There's definitely right in the middle the traditional smoky look colors, but you also have a decent number of browns at either end. And when I take a look at it, like Radar, Dirty Sweet, these two shimmery browny golds, I mean, those could be interchangeable. Not exactly, but somewhat interchangeable with some of what you'll find in the original Naked. And to a certain extent, like Radar and Whiskey at the two ends here, you could find something similar in the Naked 2. I really enjoyed the fact that there were two very light shades to just kind of take the edge off of how dark some of the other shades are. So shimmer shades, two light shimmer shades on one side and two mattes on the other. I thought that was quite nice. And Password is, interestingly enough, there's only one, no, I'm lying. I'm lying here. Yeah. There's, no, that's true. As far as a usable darker matte, Password is the only one. It's interesting I didn't use it. I didn't end up using it. I did make a dark smoky look here. I also did a smoky look with the purple that I really enjoyed. I thought it went really well with green eyes. I enjoyed Armor. Armor was just a very bright silvery color, very flattering. Yeah, I mean, okay, the Smoky, you have to go, sorry, the ring light. You have to go with a light hand, I think, to start. So I do like the fact that for the brush that comes with it, it is a very fluffy brush, and I think that that's what you need. You need a very fluffy brush, and to just kind of build and build and build so that you don't end up with too strong of a smoky eye. I did enjoy a lot of the looks I came up with the Naked Smoky, the kind of gunmetal smoky eye, the purple smoky eye, and the brown look. It's pretty versatile as well. So I would probably say this one first, this one second, as far as being able to be workable for people who prefer warm tones, cool tones, and across a larger spectrum of colors. One that is near and dear to my heart because of warm colors is the Naked Heat. But I only ended up using this one 4 times. I'm going to just get rid of the brush here for a second, but I'd like to talk to you about the colors. I really enjoyed, I enjoyed the fact that there were more mattes in here. I won't lie about that. But what I really appreciated was the difference in the shimmer options. So Scorched, it was one of my favorite colors in the palette. If you want to see that video, this one I definitely identified, singled out of this palette. Ember was delightful. I really enjoyed that one. Not too punchy of a shimmer, but quite nice. And yeah, those two are the ones that really stood out for me. It was easier to use a ton of the mattes in here. And I was really surprised that I ended up going back over and over to the Enfuego and Ashes. And I think the Enfuego, because it has a little bit of a pull to the purple, I think that's why I was drawn to it. After using this palette 4 times, and I didn't use it the whole month, I get that part, but I would challenge this idea that you always get the same look with the Naked Heat, because I really feel like there are a number of colors that pull to the beige, a number of colors that pull to the brown, and then a number of colors that pull to the berries. I really think that it might be more so a matter of habit of the type of colors that people put different places on their eye, but I can definitely come up with very different looks with this palette. And feel free to challenge me in the comments. I would certainly go back to this palette and show some very different looks with it. The other palettes, I would argue, are probably easier, but there is no question that I was able to do different looks with this palette, and I really enjoyed it. So out of all of my Naked palettes, it's hard to believe in my eyes that I have 5 of them. I liked all of them, and I liked all of them for different reasons. I like the Naked Heat because it's warmer tones. I ended up liking the Naked 2 because it was cooler tones, but still very versatile. The Naked Original, it makes sense that it's the one that's the most diverse because all the subsequent ones seem to have pulled from that palette, save maybe the Naked Heat, which was, I think the Naked Heat, like the original Naked, yeah, the original Naked doesn't really have any kind of fiery browns at all. So the Naked Heat is really the one that really deviates from the OG. It was a really, really good experience, as was the Naked Shapeshifter. Now, when I did my top contour palettes, this one I pretty much gave an honorable mention to, but I didn't put it in my top 3. This is the powder side. There are 4 powders here. A contour, a bronzer, and a matte and a shimmer highlight. And then on the other side, the creams. I ended up giving a go to pretty much all the creams and the powders. Sometimes I would use mostly creams, sometimes mostly powders. Actually, most of the time I used powders. And in that video, I said that the colors weren't necessarily for me, and I take it back. I think this palette worked really well for me. I mean, I don't know if you can see it all that well. See if I can get the mirror to behave here. I used a lot of the highlighter and I used a lot of the bronzer, and that is despite the fact that the bronzer is very powerfully pigmented. I only used a tiny bit. Well, same with the highlighter. And I have it on today. It does not take much to be very bronzy. And I was very happy that it's a matte bronze. There's no shimmer whatsoever in 3 of the 4 powders, which I think is great. I did supplement with one other color from the Afterglow for highlighter, just to change it up because I only had one highlighter to play with. I ended up using ONS as well. So ONS and Wicked are the 2 that I supplemented with because they were fundamentally different from the highlighter that was in the Naked Shapeshifter. And of course I have Naked Shapeshifter light to medium just based on my skin tone. And one last palette that I did use as well, just to change it up, I did end up using Jawbone out of this one, the Jean-Michel Basquiat. I ended up using this one when I wanted a little bit of a darker bronzer, so that was just a couple of times. And then to change the blush a little bit, I ended up using NoHo during one of the looks because I wanted something that was a little bit cooler as a blush. And other than that, I was using a non-Urban Decay blush, so it was nice to bring in Urban Decay a little bit into the mix as well. I'm really happy to have done this Naked in November project because sometimes we just make assumptions about palettes in our collection, and I had definitely made assumptions about the Naked palettes, about how I felt about each one, and digging into each one a minimum of 4 days up to 6 days each really reminded me of some things that reminded me of some things that I'd forgotten about the palettes, and also introduced me to aspects of each palette that I really did not know or hadn't fully appreciated. So based on that, I even think I could spend another month with these palettes and would learn even more. Now, if you're curious about all the looks that I came up with during this month of November, I am wearing the Naked palettes on my eyes all of the videos in November, save a few at the beginning of the month that would have been still October. But I am wearing the Naked palettes throughout the month of November, the uploads during the month of November. So you can see the thumbnails, you can take a look at some of the looks. I have, of course, put some pictures of some looks in the video, but I thought it would be a little bit much to put in, 20 pictures or something. So please take a look at the other videos in the month. I think you will enjoy what you see during the month of November. And with that, I am very pleased to go into December with holiday palettes. I am going to be playing with a lot of holiday palettes, including this one, which was really nice to have played around with a little bit in the month of November as well. So if you are curious to see what holiday palettes I am using, please take a look at the December 1st upload. That is presenting 8 palettes that I will be using during the month of December to get things a little festive around here. I am really looking forward to enjoying bougie options in some cases and doing some really fun looks over the holidays. I think this is the time of year where we can kind of take it up a few notches, no matter what we're doing, and that makes things fun. It's even kind of expected, and it just, well, what else can I say? It's fun, it's something to enjoy, and I'm really looking forward to playing with a lot of stuff. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time very much. Do you have a favorite naked palette or a couple of favorite naked palettes? I would love to hear about it down below, and I would love to hear what your color combination favorites are as well, because I wouldn't mind trying some out. So, and if you want me to do a couple of looks with the Naked Heat, please let me know that as well. I would be glad to. I just want to know if there is any demand for it. And of course, any other comments that you want to offer, I enjoy the feedback and your thoughts. And I will close it off by saying I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.